The story begins with a spy known as Combat Agent 6, who works for an evil organization. He has been tasked by his superiors to investigate a planet similar to Earth. However, he would much rather visit a planet full of females instead. He is told that once they finish conquering Earth, he along with most of the agents will be fired, so they need more places to control. He isn't happy about this news since they permanently modified his body to make him superhuman. So rather than going on this mission, he suggests that he marries one of the superiors. She is overwhelmed by his forwardness, so she freezes his hands and leads him to where the mission will take place. They enter a room where one of the company leaders called Lilith has created a teleportation device along with a robot to help Agent 6 in his task. The robot roasts him upon seeing him, and based on his facial expression, I don't think he liked it very much. She informs him that if he were to hurt her, the core within her will explode and destroy a vast amount of the area they stand in. She also tells him not to address her as little girl, but instead to call her Kisaragi Company Pretty Girl Android, but her actual name is Alice. Lilith gives him a mini teleportation device to use if he needs weapons or other items. Once he sends a request, they will provide him with what he has written. Astaroth, who is one of the leaders, briefs him on his mission to first construct a base and install a teleportation device to make going back and forth possible. He also has to scout for military threats, resources, and other benefits. They are hoping that with the success of this operation, they can resolve the food and environmental issues that is currently affecting Earth. Agent 6 is surprised that they will trust him with such a huge task. Astaroth bashfully tells him that ever since the beginning of their organization, she considers him as one of the supreme leaders because he helped build it to where it is at. She tells him to promise to come back and for him to send a report once a week informing her on his well-being. The other leaders can see she has a soft spot for him, but she tries to deny it. Agent 6 goes in for a kiss, but she kicks him into the teleportation machine. Lilith begins the teleportation, and Agent 6 wants to know the success rate. When she tells him the device hasn't been tested rigorously, he wants to quit right away. The guy is scared for his life, but the genius scientist presses the button anyway. He along with Alice are teleported high in the sky and are falling to their death. She hands him a parachute and tells him to land perfectly, otherwise she will explode. He deploys it, and while in the air, he spots a town in the distance, meaning there is civilization in this world. As soon as they land, Agent 6 just wants to skip to Stage 3 and erect the teleportation device so that he can return home and give the three leaders a piece of his mind. However, Alice informs him that it wouldn't be possible to build it out in the open like that because the device is extremely delicate, and even if they could, it'll take about 1 month for the machine to be in working condition. 6 is obviously not pleased with this information and begins to complain. But the robot girl injects a chip that boosts his immune system to protect him from strange diseases. They start their walk towards the city, and 6 hates the idea of walking, so he wants to summon a vehicle. Before they do so, she wants to know how many evil points he has accumulated. When he answers that he has 300, she informs him that it wouldn't be enough for them to conquer the city. Even he is surprised to learn that he needs the points to get things sent. Alice reveals that all the agents in the organization were implanted with a chip in their brains, which detects any evil act done and rewards them with points according to the evil act. They are supposed to trade it in to get equipment that will make them stronger. Turns out that 6 has been wasting it on unholy things. As they discuss, they are ambushed by some strange-looking creatures, so he runs away from the dinosaur-looking dogs until he gets cover and takes them out one by one with his gun. Alice hides behind him, saying her ability to fight is that of a girl her age, so she expects 6 to take care of the situation. He calls her useless, but soon regrets it when he is about to be eaten by one of them, and she refuses to help. He apologizes for insulting her, so she tells him to apply his evil points to summon a shotgun, which she uses to kill the monster. Some soldiers from the city come to their location demanding to know who they are, but they cannot understand each other. So Alice learns the language and sends the interpretation to 6's brain via the implanted chip. For a moment, he thought he had awakened special abilities, but he's sad to know that he's a useless sack of potatoes. Alice takes charge and explains to the knight that 6 is a brave leader and protector of people from a different land who suffered brain damage after saving her from danger. She came up with this particular story because Agent 6 is an idiot, and this is the only plan that will cover them since any stupid thing he says will be linked to his brain damage. The knight buys their story of them being travelers in search of healing for 6. She apologizes for being so harsh as she thought that they were bandits. When she sees the monsters on the floor dead, she knows they are strong. She introduces herself as Snow, commander of the royal guard. She takes them to her kingdom, and as they enter, he sees a beat-up military tank and asks about it. She tells him that it is an ancient weapon that was once used to protect their kingdom, so they try to use preservation magic to keep it intact, but it's still withered away. Magic can only be used by a talented few, and she unfortunately isn't one of them. She takes the two to meet the Princess Tillis, and they introduce themselves. When she learns of their strength, she asks for their help and tells them that their kingdom is at war with the Demon King, who launched an attack without warning. Snow speculates that they want more land, since a demon within their midst turns their kingdom lands into a desert. When the meeting is over, Six learns that Snow only brought them there to make herself look good, since they are strong fighters. She admits to wanting glory, money, and recognition above everything, and she will do what she can to get it. She tries to strike a common ground with Six, but he tells her he is nothing like her. Alice interrupts their bickering to ask about a strange object that looks like a giant Rubik's Cube that was built using solar panels. Snow explains that it is a legendary artifact that makes it rain after a royal member offers words of prayers. However, it no longer works, so they are forced to buy rain from other kingdoms. Alice takes a look and believes she can fix it. Snow encourages her to give it a try and says she will take full responsibility even if it doesn't work. Before Robot Girl can finish fixing it, she rushes to tell everyone of the good news. Alice gets it working again, and the machine asks for a new password after rebooting. Agent 6 the Fool sets it to Dick Festival in the hopes that the princess will be embarrassed to say it so that he can gain a lot of evil points. He realizes that he made a mistake when Alice alerts him that it will be the king who will call out that inappropriate password. The princess overhears them, and they get arrested and brought before the king, which earns Agent 6 some evil points. The king addresses him and doesn't understand why he would do something so stupid and childish. Nevertheless, he forgives him only because he fixed the artifact. Snow cannot believe he is about to get away with it, and just as the king is about to dismiss them, the princess interjects asking her father to allow her to hire them as her personal assistants because of their strength and wisdom. One of the advisors, who looks like bootleg Kakashi, mixed with a hint of Hitler, opposes this since they know nothing about these newcomers. But the king has no backbone and folds to his daughter's request, which prompts Alice to note that the kingdom is actually run by the princess, since the king will just do anything his daughter says. Snow begs for her to think this through because she is now suspecting them to be spies. But Six replies saying that it would mean that Snow is a traitor who allowed a spy into the kingdom. The knight is obviously offended by this and threatens to strike him down where he kneels. He confidently tells her that she cannot do that now that he works for the princess. He also reminds her that she said she will take full responsibility of the outcome regarding the legendary artifact. Realization soon hits her, so she drops the blade in fear of the consequences. Agent 6 has been given the position of an honorable knight of the kingdom who will be in charge of the interceptor groups, and Snow has been demoted and ordered to work under him, although she doesn't trust him. Not so far from the kingdom, an army of monsters are approaching it. Back on Earth, Yukari, who is the third leader, is jealous of Six's adventure and regrets rigging the dice for his number to be thrown for the mission. None of the other three wanted to go, so although Six is the weakest amongst them, they trusted him enough for the job. If he succeeds, he will be promoted to be a supreme leader just like them. Astaroth cannot wait to hear from him already and hopes that he sends a report as quickly as possible. We cut back to Agent 6 and Alice, who are preparing to recruit soldiers for their unit. Snow informs them that the majority of young men have been eliminated during the war, and that is why the army is full of old men and young women. Alice looks through the list and recommends 2 soldiers on the basis that they have taken out a lot of enemies. The first is Rose, an artificial combat chimera who can absorb the powers of what she eats, and the second is Grimm, who has the Professor X starter pack. She is known as a wizard who gets her powers from a celestial being and uses it on his behalf. Grimm is a bit unhinged, and she gets into a misunderstanding with Six after introducing herself. Snow isn't happy with how things are progressing and wants to take charge, but Six reminds her to know her place because he is the leader. She informs him to just swear allegiance to her so that they can be effective on the battlefield, since she is not only strong but also well-educated. The two get into a fight when Six disrespects and embarrasses her, but he hides behind the princess, which gets Snow to halt her blade, but she does warn him to watch his back. Princess Snow tells the agent to be more considerate of Snow, since she is an orphan girl who worked extremely hard to get to where she is. Later that night, Alice reflects on their day and acknowledges that the technology the kingdom has appears to be more advanced than their home planet. She is glad that Six has not forgotten their mission, and she reminds him not to underestimate these people. The following day, He and his unit observe from afar the kingdom's army marching towards one of the demons' base, which Alice finds to be stupid. But Snow enlightens her that they do this for honor. Snow is disgusted when she hears that Six's plan for defeating the demon unit is by destroying their supply chain. She finds this approach to be cowardly. But when Alice explains the logic, she kinda gets it, even though she likes the idea of facing them head-on to claim glory. Nevertheless, they action their plan and attack the monsters transporting the supplies. There are no guards, so the ambush goes smoothly. As Rose burns the goods and eats what she sees fit, one of the Demon Lord's Elite Four named Heine appears at their location to put an end to their destruction. She promises to let them live if they leave the undamaged supplies. Six considers doing so, and Heine likes his honesty, so she invites him to join the Demon Lord army and will be given control of humans, which he quickly agrees to. Alice slaps some sense into him, so he ends up rejecting the offer and fighting Heine. He asks for support from his unit, but none of them are willing to do so since they appear to be afraid, and Grim is somewhere in the corner sleeping her head off. Six struggles to keep the demon and her familia at bay, so Alice jumps in with her shotgun and blows the bird creature away. Heine is surprised by their power and wants to know who exactly they are. But before they can answer, another demon lands next to Grim, who is still sleeping, by the way, and as soon as she wakes up, she is swiftly sent into everlasting sleep by the demon when he crushes her head with his club. Heine doesn't have any more interest in the fight, so she takes off, leaving Dedalkand, who is also one of the demon elites, to deal with them. The ladies decide to take him on while Six goes to check up on Grim. Alice confirms her death, which makes Six livid. He promises to slay the demon, but the fight ends when Dedalkand is summoned to a meeting. Six turns his attention to Grim and wants to arrange a funeral for her, but Snow tells him that Grim wouldn't die from something like that since she is the archpriest of Zenareth. She has the ability to return to life despite how many times she dies, and because of that, people saw her as a freak and wanted her gone. Rose was also treated in the same way for being part demon. The higher-ups took advantage of their abilities and constantly sent them out to the front lines of the most dangerous battles. This is why these two soldiers have accumulated so many kills. While making their way to the temple to revive Grim, they see the kingdom's army marching back after tasting defeat. Snow is happy because she, along with her party, will get a big reward when the demons retreat due to their loss in supplies. After arriving at the altar, they put Grim on it along with offerings. Now all they have to do is wait for her to be brought back by midnight. The ladies return to their quarters, and only Six remains to welcome her back. She appreciates his kindness and asks him out on a date. He ends up summoning a wheelchair for her, and they go into a town of people to ruin the happy moments between couples, since they are both single. This action racks up a lot of evil points for Six. They are stopped by law enforcement, and Grim ends up using her curse magic on the officer. She explains that it has an 80% chance of working once she makes a suitable offering, and if it doesn't work, the curse will rebound towards her. She is in a wheelchair because of this. Six thinks it is because she was inflicted with a rebound curse, meaning her legs don't work like they used to before, but she corrects him, saying it is a curse stopping her from wearing shoes. The next day in a meeting, the king and his strategists are confused as to why the Demon Lord's army retreated when they had the advantage. Six barges in to tell them it was all due to his plan, so they should thank him. The Fetty Wap-looking mofo tells him to shut his mouth when in front of the king. He then proceeds to insult Six and his unit, calling them worthless. Six tells him that it was that same unit who sent the demon army retreating when they burned down their supply chain. The other strategist doesn't understand what significance this has, so Six explains that regardless of how strong an army is, it will be too risky for them to continue their campaign without food and water. The princess acknowledges his brilliance and thanks him for saving them. She explains that all that is now left is for the chosen hero to defeat the Demon Lord. It is foretold that he will appear with a crest on his hand and gain enormous power, allowing them to overcome the demons. Six, in his haste, removes his gloves to show a mark on his hand, believing himself to be the chosen one. But Tillis enlightens him that the mark on his hand is from an insect whose poison kills instantly. He freaks out, fearing that he will die, but he calms down when he remembers that Alice boosted his immune system. Six still thinks he is the hero being described. However, he is disappointed to learn that the crest has already appeared on Tillis's brother's hand. He takes the L and makes his way back. Rose runs to him seeking help because Alice is trying to force-feed her animals so that she can absorb their powers and become more or less invincible. But Rose doesn't want to eat the grasshopper because she hates insects. They put her down after failing to make her eat it. Six wants to know why she allows the army to boss her around when she is very strong. He knows she can get a better paying job with her abilities, so Rose explains that she only joined the army to learn about who she is. Rose tells them that she was found sleeping in a ruin surrounded by artifacts. She doesn't really remember much of what happened before that. The only thing she recalls is her maker researching a special stone known as the Stone of Miracles, which he said could do anything. But he later died trying to experiment with forbidden magic. So now she only works with the army because they promised they would share the information gathered on the ruin with her. Her dream is to continue with her maker's work, but she knows nothing about herself nor his research. Six isn't happy with how the kingdom is taking advantage of her and calls them scum. But after hearing her story, he suggests to Alice that Rose will make an excellent apprentice for their evil institution back on Earth. So they plan to change the way she thinks and make her a combat agent. Later that day, he is summoned to the meeting where it is revealed that the hero party was defeated after trying to retrieve an important treasure from a tower that will be used to defeat the demon lord. Now that the Chosen One is injured, and the unit at the kingdom have free time due to Agent 6's victory, the general suggests that they should go and retrieve the treasure. They need to do this quickly before the demon army return, otherwise they will lose this time around as they are much weaker. Climbing to the top of the tower to defeat the two bosses will be difficult, since the only way up there is through a single narrow spiral staircase. This means that the army will have to advance to the top in a single file, which isn't the best strategy. Six suggests that they should only capture the first tower and then build a fire in the middle to burn their enemies. The general considers it because it is a good plan, but a few others don't think this is what a knight should do, so the general decides that they will go with his original plan instead. The day of the battle comes, and Six refuses to get involved for now. He wants to wait in a hidden location until evening to see if the army will be able to take the tower. Snow is disappointed because she wants the glory and fame of defeating the demons who beat the Chosen One. But Six doesn't understand how they can beat the two demons who defeated someone as strong as the Chosen One. So his idea for now is to wait until Grim wakes up by evening to strategize a plan if the army fails in taking the tower. Snow calls him a coward and decides to go alone to claim glory. However, by evening the tower still stands, and she returns beaten, hoping to go along with Six's plan. She reveals that she only got halfway up, so Six informs her that their plan is to get to the top through the outside. He summons a weapon that helps them climb to the top without being noticed. When they reach their destination, they hear the Demon Brothers talking about how they should be promoted for defeating the Chosen One. Six sneaks around while they yap and kicks the goat demon down the void, but he manages to grab onto the railings. The unit decide to stone him until he loses grip if the other demon attacks. They end up subduing the other demon, and when the goat demon recovers and climbs up with reinforcements, he is forced to give up in order to save his brother. Later that night, Six and Alice are paid for their victory during the tower mission. Six cannot believe how much money it is in comparison to what he gets working for the evil organization back home, so he contemplates staying forever. Some days pass and Six is summoned by the general and tasked with the mission of dealing with the enemy's top leaders. One of them is on their way to the kingdom. They are getting desperate since the treasure Six obtained from the tower has allowed a path to be cleared for the hero's party to advance towards the demon lord's castle. He reluctantly accepts the task after learning it was suggested by the one-eyed advisor. He gathers his unit, and Snow gives them a pep talk. Six's strategy is to pretend to fight while he and Alice fall back, because they believe that the one-eyed advisor suggested this mission, so Six will be eliminated. Not long after, Heine appears with her army and a stone golem. The kingdom unit split off into different groups to fight the demons, and Six is left to face the golem alone. Snow goes against Heine while Rose fights Heine's familia. Six is struggling with the monster, but his only hope of defeating it is Grim, who is currently sleeping. Alice fails to wake her up, so Six is forced to hold it off by activating the full power of his combat suit, while Alice teleports some C4 from HQ. They manage to defeat the golem, and the explosion wakes Grim up. He tells her to protect him for 3 minutes since he cannot move after using the suit's power. Heine emerges from the cloud of smoke and attacks, but Rose blocks it. Snow joins them after failing to deal with her. The demon overhears that he cannot move, so she prepares an attack, which will destroy them all in one strike. But Grim buys them some time when she puts a paralysis curse on Heine. In her desperation, she tries to entice Six by offering more pay and other benefits. He quickly goes on his knees and almost accepts. But Snow stops it by attacking Heine, who dodges. She instead cuts off a crystal from the demon which contains immense power, and without it, she wouldn't be strong enough to be considered one of the Elite Four. Six makes her work for it by using her as a model for his photographs, which earns him a lot of evil points. After he has humiliated her, he refuses to give her the gem, so she retreats with her army and swears that she will eradicate him. As they celebrate their victory in a tavern that night, Snow finally acknowledges Six as a captain, but she still hasn't accepted him 100%. After dropping his drunk ass in his room, she bumps into the one-eyed advisor who tries to use her dislike for Six to get her high-ranking position back by getting evidence of him being a spy. Although she doesn't admit it, she has come to like her team and even sees how useful Six is. She reluctantly accepts the task and returns to Six's room with a bonus with the intention of catching him out. Before knocking on his door, she overhears him talking about their mission of being spies in Snow's language. She opens the door and asks him what he means by that. He tries to gaslight her, but she doesn't fall for it. She tells him to leave and never allow her to see him ever again. She only gives him this option because of the good he has done for the country. Otherwise, he probably would have been executed. We later see that she has gotten her position back as she trains her unit. Even though she has what she wanted, Snow is not pleased with the circumstance of how she was reinstated. Snow thinks that maybe she should have let him explain. Elsewhere, Six and Alice find new lodging and talk about completing the last stage of their mission, which is to build the teleportation device, and once that is done, they will invade the kingdom with reinforcement from Earth. Six pretends like he doesn't care for this world, but it seems like he has become slightly attached to his unit. Alice informs him that the demons are planning an all-out attack against the kingdom since the Chosen One is on an expedition. Six doesn't really care because Snow kicked him out, but Alice tricks him to go and help by saying that the destruction of the kingdom should be done by their evil organization and not by the demons. That night, he racks up evil points by scaring the common people of the Empire. Snow catches him in the act and tells him to leave right away because she will not allow him to get off easy next time. But Rose wants to know why he left, because no one knows anything about the circumstance. He lies saying that Snow was harassing him so he couldn't take it anymore. But Snow denies it and tells her not to listen to him. Six makes it known that he is aware of the imminent attack from the demon army, so if she wants his help, she needs to beg him and apologize, but Snow is offended and tells him to get lost. The next day, Alice informs him that they have enough evil points for her plan, so they begin by planting bombs in the path she predicts the demon army will take. They later learn that the Chosen One has gone missing, which puts the residents in a panic. Alice explains that he almost beat one of the 4 elite, however, they used a random teleportation spell which made them both disappear. She believes that the hero is most likely dead. She suspects that because of Six's action of defeating the tower bosses, this has negatively impacted the prophecy of the Chosen One, so it looks like they will have to take responsibility. Alice suggests that they teleport banned biological and chemical weapons to beat the demons, but Six refuses. She even volunteers to self-destruct at the Demon Lord Castle, but he doesn't like that idea either. In the end, they both decide to just run away and not bear the consequences of accidentally leaving the kingdom with no hero. As they get ready to skedaddle, the princess comes in and gets him to admit being a spy with empty threats. She finds it funny that he gave up that easily. She hasn't come to arrest him, but she does want him to witness the annihilation of her nation so that he can relate the story of the bravery of her people. She begs him to inform the other nations of the Demon Lord's army so that they can be well prepared. He ends up accepting her request and returns to the castle, but he still plans of escaping at the perfect time when the army attacks. Him and Alice are interrupted when Snow and the other 2 ladies arrive. They think he has been asked by the princess to protect her, but as they converse, Snow gets annoyed by him and attacks. Rose thinks she is hiding her feelings for him by being violent towards the guy. Elsewhere, Hyna marches with her army and has brought Gadalcanda's backup since she fears Six more than the Chosen One. They hear a loud sound, and a few of the golems have been taken out by the explosive trap. The army are told to be alert, but Hyna is distracted when she senses the energy from her crystal. She goes to investigate and sees it there in the open. She believes Six is nearby and calls out to him, but when no one responds, she reaches out and is exploded. Back at the castle, the princess informs Alice and Six that she knows how to use magic, although she is only strong enough to use it occasionally. She demonstrates her water magic, but they miss it. Evening comes and the demon army hasn't arrived yet due to the traps. Six suggests that perhaps they should make a run for it, but the princess is disappointed that he doesn't care about the others. He tells her that they will survive since they belong to his unit. Soon enough, the demon army arrives, and Heine is vexed looking all beaten up because she fell for the trap. The fighting begins, and the golems are proving too much for the army, so they leave it to Grimm to put a curse on them, which stops a few, allowing the others to charge in. Gadalkan joins the fight, and Rose tries her best to hold him back, but she struggles a bit. Snow comes to help, but Grim and Rose tell her to go guard the princess while they handle the two demons. Although she is reluctant to leave them, she takes their advice. Back at the castle, Six is trying to escape with the princess, but she is refusing to abandon her people. While making their escape, Snow arrives to tell them of the looming defeat they are about to face to the demon army. She begs him to help, but Alice alerts Six to ignore her because they only have enough points to escape. Six walks past Snow saying there is nothing he can do, but she grabs his hand calling him commander and starts crying for him to save Rose and Grim. He is touched by this plea, so he decides to help, much to Alice's disappointment. She calls him a useless failure and a disgrace to evil. He orders Alice to teleport an anti-material rifle so he can hit the golems from afar. She notices that they do not have enough points for it because Six wasted it on unholy things. Alice calls him a fool and tells him that since this is an emergency, he should go punch the spineless king to get the points needed. The princess and Snow try to stop him, but he tells them that this is necessary. Snow says that if he needs to punch anyone, then he should punch her. He refuses, but he does something else to her that she wouldn't like, which leaves her embarrassed. It is more than enough to summon the weapon. Six gets straight to work and begins eliminating the golems one by one until the two elite demons make their way to the castle to stop him. They realize that he cannot use the weapon as often as he likes, so a fight ensues to eliminate him. Heine especially wants revenge for him destroying her crystal right before her eyes. Six gets Alice to teleport a chainsaw blade he uses in combination with his suit's full power to completely decimate all the demons in front of them, starting with Gadalkand. The only one left alive is Heine. He lets her retreat in exchange for a 1-month treaty. Snow isn't sure that is a good idea, but he tells her that he has a plan. Alice, along with the princess, go on their way, leaving Snow and Six since he cannot move for a while. She is happy that Six likes her, and she wants to take things slow. But he corrects her, saying he doesn't actually like her like that. He's just a scum, low-value man who wanted to use her for one night. Snow is livid to hear this, and pulls her blade to kill him, but the cool-down period ends, so he makes a run for it. Later, Princess Tillis expresses her gratitude for saving them, so he tells her to write his name in their history books to prove her appreciation. She asks him to resume his position as a knight, but he refuses, saying he doesn't have time to deal with weirdos. Rose and Grim are offended that he is referring to them as such, but Snow says that if he doesn't want to work with her, then that is okay. But their nation is in desperate need of a leader who can also fight, so he should reconsider and just be a mercenary instead. Six decides to offer his aid, and he starts off by attacking the one-eyed strategist with duct tape to make him extra bald, which increases his evil points. As he and Alice make their way home, she informs him that he is in negative points, so if he were to return to Earth, he will be tortured. She suggests that when the teleportation device is ready, they need to come up with an excuse to stay so he can get his points in the positive. He thanks Alice for her help and calls her partner, which she appreciates. Back on Earth, Alice sends a report requesting for more combatants, and although helping other people is against their evil agenda, the leaders think it is a good idea to keep their employees employed. Six later has a video call with Astaroth, and he is livid because Alice told him the teleportation device they used to send him to this world didn't have a 100% success rate, it was rather less than half. Astaroth attempts to apologize for the deception, but Six promises to get his revenge. She tries to calm him down by offering to send the latest volume of a popular comic. He rejects the offer and is even more annoyed that she thinks that his life is worth a comic volume. Six will only forgive them if Astaroth agrees to marry him and allow him to be a stay-at-home husband. She blushes, calling him ridiculous, and demands he submit his report. He also explains that he can't return to Earth yet because he's the boss of a unit, and abandoning his cute subordinates is too difficult. Astaroth calls him out on his perverted ways, causing him to change the topic. He asks for an update on the reinforcement he requested, but she informs him that they don't have any to spare. They are close to conquering Earth, so the heroes have launched a full-scale counterattack. Yukari and Lilith are fighting hard to hold them back. They could use Six's help, but since he wants to stay and conquer the other world, they expect him to produce good results. He complains again about the lack of support he's getting given the task at hand. This leads to an exchange of words between the two, and it ends with Six indecently exposing himself. He goes to the training grounds after the meeting to spar with Tigerman, who is the only mutant that was sent to him as support. Six uses Snow's beloved blade, but it gets broken after one clash. They panic and plead with Elisa to help them. She suggests they superglue the blade back together and act oblivious, but Snow joins them before they can execute the plan. Six and Tiger Man hide the blade behind themselves as it cracks further. She demands he give the weapon back as she took a 5-year loan to buy it. Six lies, saying that the blade transformed and went on a journey to defeat the demon lord, but it lost and returned broken. He hands over the weapon and lets her know that it uttered Snow's name before it met its demise. She cries as it was her pride and joy. Tiger Man feels bad and offers his katana, which she happily accepts since it is well made. She is so excited to try the new blade in the upcoming battle. Later that night, the unit needed a bar to celebrate their victory. Six is glad that he's starting to make a name for himself when he overhears some ladies giving him hype. Snow is satisfied with the performance of her new weapon and starts thinking about a name for it. She also confesses that the only reason she is still part of the unit is because the princess asked her to keep an eye on Six. The others still can't believe that the newcomers are from another world. Alice makes it clear that their realm has science instead of magic. She asks Snow to help her investigate the type of creatures in this world for her report. They head to a forest where they witness a battle between a Mokamoki and Supapaki. Six just wants to leave before they are spotted. After the battle, the trio enter the territory of the head splitters, which is marked by a spiked snake. There are also skulls lying around, which all have holes. Six senses danger and runs, leaving the ladies when a stone axe flies towards them. He tries to find his comrades when he calms down, but encounters a Mokamoki instead. The guy panics at first, but he soon realizes that the monster is friendly. But their tender moment is ruined when Snow jumps in and cuts down the creature. They return to the inn to have the monster cooked, and Six is depressed because they are now eating his friend and eliminating it. As the girls eat, an argument erupts between Alice and Grim when the android badmouths magic and states that it's no different from psychic powers. Grim gets annoyed since she believes that her power is given to her by Zenareth. She's eager to prove her point, but Alice is confident that she will be able to explain it with science. Six is asked to join them as a witness as they go outside the city. Grim summons a great devil, and Six is physically attracted to her, which is not a surprise since he has the self-control of an animal. The demon offers to fulfill any of his wishes, but Grim advises him not to take the offer. Alice looks at the projection of the demon and guesses that it's just a cheap hologram and moves the summoning carpet to get a better look at how it works. The devil gets offended that she doubts her power and tries to eliminate her aiming for her heart, but it doesn't work because she is an android, so she doesn't have one. The devil wants to prove that she is the real deal, so she offers to grant Alice any wish. Alice asks the devil to create 3 worlds, which startles it since it's a big request. The android changes her mind and asks it to eliminate the demon lord and his race, but it refuses since that will be a massacre. She just settles on asking it to unplug the toilet in their hideout. Grim can't believe that she would ask a greater devil to do such a menial task. It turns into its original form to try and intimidate Alice, but it doesn't work. The android gets fed up with how useless this greater devil is and orders it to go home, which it does. The trio head back to the city, and Alice makes it clear to Grim that she is not impressed with her display. She writes her report on the experience when they return. All the while, Tillis looks over some documents which indicates that their kingdom will run out of water if things keep up at the current rate. The following day, she goes to the rain-making artifact and tries to activate it by shouting the lewd phrase that Six changed it to. However, nothing happens. She guesses that it must be said in front of a crowd of people for it to work. The agent joins her after being summoned. He thinks that she wants to confess her love for him and already turns her down, but she makes it clear that this was not the case, and explains that they used to import water stones from Kingdom of Taurus when the artifact was broken. They reduced their order when Alice fixed the relic, however. The king was too embarrassed that he had to keep saying the lewd phrase to activate it, so he vanished like Avatar Aang. Tillis intends to send Snow to Taurus to negotiate for more water stones, and she wants Six to escort her. This will give the princess time to look for the king. Tillis doesn't want the responsibility of saying such a phrase in public. She knows that the crown prince of Taurus named Engel loves women, so Tillis wants to use Snow's physical assets to bait Engel to make a move on her. This will create an international incident since seducing a messenger is illegal. The princess then aims to use this to blackmail the prince to get a good deal for the water stones. She entices Six to take the job by offering to give them information on all the various ruins in the continent. Tillis proves her point by revealing that there is an unexplored ruin in Taurus. He takes the job, and not before long, the unit drive to their neighboring kingdom. As soon as they arrive, Snow gets chummy with their attendant, who informs them that Engel has prepared a banquet for them. The visitors get ready, but Grim gets offended when Six bluntly tells her that she is a decade too old to be thirst-trapping. She shoots a curse which will make the agent impotent, but he dodges it, causing the spell to fly out of the room. The party make their way to the banquet where Six and Alice are embarrassed by the behavior of the others. Grim is pathetically trying to rizz up one of the kingdom's nobles. Rose eats like she has never seen food before, and Snow shamelessly tells everyone her plans to make Engel fall in love with her so that she can become a powerful queen. Their shenanigans pause when the crown prince enters the hall. Snow wastes no time and turns on the charm as she throws herself all over him. Engel surprises everyone when he doesn't take the bait and is rather level-headed about not wanting to cause an international incident. Grim's rizz attempt is also a failure. When she finds out that the noble has a fiancé, she tries to cast a curse that will drench him with water, but it rather pours on her. Six and Alice excuse themselves to further explore the area when they bump into Russell, one of the Demon Elite Four. The agent wastes no time and grabs him by the face, but he throws him to the side and tackles Heine when she pops up. He uses her as a meat shield when Russell prepares to attack. Six gets more evil points when he starts to let his hand wander. After subduing the enemy, the agent marches to Engel demanding an explanation as to why he is selling water stones to the demons. The Crown Prince makes it clear that he is not in an alliance with them, but he was looking to form a non-aggression pact. Engel is aware that the demons are invading because the huge demon beast called the Sand King has inhabited their land. This creature turns land to desert. Snow can't believe that Engel is dealing with the demons when humanity is banding together to defeat them. She is sure that the other countries might see him as a traitor. Heine enters after freeing herself and reveals that the demons are willing to end the war if the humans have the same intention. Snow doesn't believe her and refuses to let the sacrifice of her men go to waste by entertaining such a deal. Heine points out that they have also lost a lot of beloved comrades. She reveals they might be able to deal with the Sand King thanks to Prince Engel. The country's ruins have something that can make this happen. The prince feels like the need to fight is solved if the beast is defeated, since the demons will be able to return to their homeland. Snow tries to use her female features to make the prince reconsider. Heine refuses to be bested and presents herself also eager to take his attention. They are both stunned when Engel tells them that he doesn't intend to use such means to decide this diplomatic matter. Snow is confused because the prince is supposed to be someone who thinks with what is in his pants. His reluctance to fall for their seduction only makes them try harder. Six just watches on, filled with jealousy, to the point that he disrespects Engel by plopping his magic stick on the prince's head. This becomes a huge incident where Taurus declares war against the Grace Kingdom for such a show of disrespect. Tillis reads this to her bootleg diplomats who have returned. Snow blames Six for this predicament. The princess removes Snow as the commander of the knights again. She is confident that it will take Taurus time to prepare for war. Tillis gets the idea to send Six and his unit to go retrieve the water nut that only grows in the middle of the Tuzan Desert. A single nut has a huge amount of water within it. However, it's inside the Sand King's territory. The party set off that night to find it as the demon beast is mostly active during the day. While in the car, it dawns on Six that the impotent curse that Grim fired hit the prince. This would explain why he suddenly lost interest in women. The priestess tells him to keep it as their little secret. Soon after, they arrive at the location of the water nuts, and the agent is surprised that there are trees that grow in the middle of the desert. Snow harvests a bag of the nuts and is sure that they can solve the water shortage with it. She is more excited about how this will make everyone love them again. She is positive that the princess will give her job back. Six plucks one of the nuts to inspect, and is skeptical that it has so much water in it. Grim informs him that they are compressed with magic. He puts one in his back pocket as Alice and the priestess have another argument about magic. Rose interjects to inform everyone that she can smell something delicious, which is a combination of powerful magic and giant neat. The ground starts to quake, and they get on their buggy and speed off worried about the upcoming danger. The Sand King emerges, revealing that the trees they harvested the water nuts from are a part of its body. The agent guesses that they are organs used to store water. The giant mole turns its attention to them and soon catches up, forcing the party to evacuate the buggy. The vehicle lures the monster away from them and gets destroyed along with all the water nuts they harvested. Six pulls out the one he kept to show that not all is lost. Snow is more worried about how they are going to get back home. Their first day crossing the desert on foot is tough. Six reveals that his armor has temperature-adjusting functions, prompting Snow to plead with him to give her the top half of it. Rose carries an unconscious Grim as she complains about hunger. The agent states that they will eat the next thing they come across. Unfortunately for the agent, it's an orc, so he refuses to eat it, but Rose holds him while Snow forces the food down his mouth. Night falls and they get a big tent to protect them from the elements. Six is low on evil points, so Alice suggests that he does some dastardly stuff to Snow to get enough for him to buy a buggy or food. The commander is against this and pulls out her sword ready to fight. This prompts him to turn his attention to an unconscious Grim to everyone's disgust. 3 days have passed since that incident, and the party are completely out of food. They march on in the night with their sunken face due to hunger. They have decided to travel at nighttime since it's cooler, but they don't encounter any demon beasts that they can eliminate for food. By day 6, Grim has lost her life and gets sprayed with preservative to keep her from decomposing. Rose looks at their fallen comrade like she's a snack. On the 7th day, Snow is so hungry that she allows Six to do whatever he needs to do to get evil points. But it doesn't work, and he gets beaten for his failure. The party continue to travel at night, and Six concludes that Rose has a crush on him based on the ways she has been looking at him of late. They later set up camp, and Snow goes back to defending herself when Six wants to take things too far. She falls unconscious before she can fight due to exhaustion. Rose decides to make her move on Six, and it's revealed that she wanted to eat him because of her extreme hunger. The two fight for their lives, which leads to Six getting enough evil points after defeating her. This allows them to get a buggy and some food so they can get back to the kingdom quicker. The agent and his android partner have an audience with Tillis, who informs them that Taurus and the demons are working together and will be attacking soon. She wants them to stop Heine and Russell from investigating the ruins in Taurus. Alice recalls that they were looking for an ancient weapon and suggests they steal it for themselves. Meanwhile on Earth, the Kisaragi organization have a rooftop party to celebrate them surviving the full-scale attack from the heroes. The Supreme Leaders have their own area with a pool that overlooks the party. Astaroth feels a little guilty that they are chilling while Six and his unit are hard at work in the other world. As she discusses with Yukari, Lilith sets up a live feed showcasing her colleagues' swimsuits. This earns her some evil points. Back in the other world, the unit prepare for their raid of the Taurus ruins while they wait for Grim to be revived. Six plans to call Astaroth to find out why she banned him from going into negative evil points. The overdraft allows him to be able to summon material to help in emergency situations, like when they were stuck in the desert. His complaints get interrupted when they get a notification to watch the live stream. Six is sure that Lilith is up to something stupid, but he quickly changes his tune when Alice opens it to reveal Astaroth and Yukari in their swimsuits. The degenerate tries to adjust the camera angle on Astaroth, but he's unable to. Six is not impressed that they are having fun while he prepares to fight the final battle against the Demon Lord's army. The voting for Best Boss also starts as the real-time results are projected on a giant screen. It was Six who started this tradition. As the leaders continue to discuss, Lilith gains more evil points by getting some inappropriate footage of her comrades. Alice figures that Lilith is trying to use the stream to get more subscribers and votes. Six quickly subscribes so that he can keep watching the stream. The evil scientist turns her attention to Astaroth and teases her about her only caring about who Six votes for. Astaroth starts to reveal how she feels about the agent. Lilith tries to stop her since it's being broadcasted to the world. She also almost reveals the fact that their organization might be laying off the combat agents once they take over the world. This would make her sad because she might not get to spend more time with Six. Lilith shoots some fireworks to mask what Astaroth is saying. After the explosions, the other two realize that she is live streaming and attack, putting an end to the show. Astaroth gets upset that everything she said was heard by the world. Lilith quickly calls Six so that he can say something nice to her to make her feel better. The lustful guy states that he recorded the broadcast and intends to watch it every day. This only makes her more shy as she jumps into the pool out of embarrassment. Yukari pulls her out and assures her that she is number 1 in boss popularity polls. They check and Lilith is first by an unreasonable number of votes, because the organization doesn't have that number of members. The evil scientist is accused of cheating and is attacked by the other two. It is revealed that she recently hired a lot of agents and got them to vote for her. Yukari makes some calls to Human Resource to lay off all the new agents. However, they will all be giving Kisaragi gift cards at Lilith's expense. All the while, Six and Astaroth have a moment, but just as she is about to ask him who he voted for, the heroes mount an attack since the location of the villains has been leaked through the stream. He leaves them to deal with it, and Astaroth warns the agent not to lose to the Demon Lord's army, since their organization must prove that they are the strongest in the world. The call suddenly ends as the fighting starts. Six wanted them to give him some extra evil points to help with his upcoming battle. Alice reveals that she has a plan to defeat the Demon Lord's army. The agent is happy to hear that. She tells him to get to sleep because they have an early start the following day. As soon as Six leaves, she lets Tiger Man know that she is the one who made the request to prevent him from going into negative evil points. Otherwise, they will not be able to return to Earth. She wants to only allow access if they are in a dire situation. The mutant pretends that he didn't hear anything. The following day, Alice discloses the plan, and Tiger Man is a little upset because he wanted to be part of the team attacking the ruins. The android explains that they must split their forces since that is what the enemy has done. Tiger Man will deal with the demons while the kingdom's knights will handle the Taurus army. The mutant should be able to hold off the demons because he will be engaging them in the forest area, which is to his advantage. The unit will travel to Taurus and get the ancient weapon which they will use to subdue the enemy. Her plan gets an applause from Six and Tiger Man. The party goes straight to the ruin, but Snow cries in the back of the buggy because getting demoted means she can't afford to pay off her sword loan. Six boasts about his frivolous lifestyle with his wages, but Alice reminds him that he's only able to do this because of the extra allowance she gives to him. Snow is stunned to hear this, so the android promises to give her a bonus equating to 3 months of her paycheck if she can contribute significantly to the success of the mission. They arrive at the ruin as the sun sets. Alice scouts the area and can see that the demons have not found the weapon yet because they are still camped outside. The 2 demon leaders come out, and Heine treats Russell like a kid as she tells him to get some rest since he used a lot of magic. He reminds her that combat chimeras have infinite magic power and storms off a little upset. Meanwhile, the ladies of the kingdom want to attack the ruins that night, but Alice and Six inform them that they will be resting and making their move the following day. He wants Heine and Russell to fight all the monsters and trigger the traps before they swoop and take the weapon when it's found. The following day, they sneak into the ruin and follow the demon leaders who fight their way through the ancient structure. Six notes how advanced the ruin is. Rose has a sense of familiarity with the place. On the other hand, Snow tries to remove some fixtures to sell for a fortune. The party proceed and stumble on the remnants of the demons' battle, and Alice confirms that the guardians of the ruin are robots. Snow doesn't waste this opportunity to grab some parts. They catch up to the leaders who are fighting waves of machines and surviving through the traps like tomb raiders. Their hard work pays off when they finally arrive at the ancient weapon, which is a giant mech. Russell is confident that they can use it to defeat the Sand King. After that, he wants them to use it to get rid of the humans. Heine agrees when she recalls what Six has done to her. The agent runs over and kicks Russell in the family jewels. As he's about to activate the machine, the lad foams at the mouth as he falls unconscious. Alice holds Heine at gunpoint to prevent her from helping him. She starts crying after hearing Six gloat about how they are going to swipe the weapon. Alice checks Russell's vitals and confirms that he is dead. The agent feels guilty, so they give him first aid and revive him. He then tries to force Russell to activate the robot for them, but uses it as an opportunity to gain control of it. Six takes Heine captive to try and recapture command of the situation, but Heine rather tells Russell to go back to HQ with their new weapon while she teleports there. The agent is not able to stop her, but he does take her top. He knows that Russell has a crush on Heine, so he throws it at him, allowing them to escape as he tries to grab it. They run through the corridors worried about how to defeat the machine, but by the time they get to the entrance of the ruin, Russell is waiting ready to crush them. The party are forced to head back into the ancient structure. It quakes because Russell is trying to force them out by attacking the ruin. The unit regroup to come up with a plan to get out this situation. Grimm tries to cast a curse on Russell, but it backfires when part of the ceiling falls on her, knocking her out. Six thinks about exchanging Snow for their lives, but Rose suggests they let her try to talk to Russell since she too is a chimera. The agent loves the idea at first, but he knows that Astaroth would be disappointed if he sent her to face such dangers. He tells Rose to take care of Grimm while he deals with the robot. He asks Alice if she has a strategy. She does, but they will have to give up on the idea of recovering the ancient weapon. He will also have to go into negative evil points. She confesses to asking HQ to restrict access unless he was in an emergency. The android believes in his survival skills, so she needs him to face the robot alone to buy her some time. She gives him some things to help with his encounter. He trusts Alice with whatever she is going to do with the overdrafted points. The android gives him a supportive pat on the back just before he jets off. The ladies go in the opposite direction to build their counter to the ancient weapon. All the while, Russell promises to forgive his subordinates for their mistake if they go into the ruin and flush the humans out. They rush in with confidence, but they are knocked back out by Six. The agent confronts the demon elite, thinking that whatever energy source the mech is running on will run out before he falls. Russell tells him that it runs on the pilot's life energy, and a chimera like him has abnormal stamina, so he will not be gassing out anytime soon. Six summons a plethora of weapons from his homeworld to help him face this foe. He uses all of them as the battle rages on, but little damage is done to the mech. Russell suspects that Six is engaging him to buy time for Alice, so he turns his attention to her. The agent unleashes his buzzsaw and cuts the leg of the robot. It stumbles to the ground to Russell's surprise. He gets annoyed by Six's teasing and crushes him. The elite demon's moment of dominance ends when he hears a menacing sound coming from the ruin. The entrance crumbles as Alice comes out controlling Kisaragi's combat vehicle called the Destroyer. Six slumps to the ground and gives his partner a thumbs up to bring them victory. She cracks a smile before rushing towards the ancient weapon as they have an epic clash. A giant explosion follows as the place turns white. Six wakes up after 3 days and learns that Alice won the battle, leading to Russell getting captured. The android threatened the nearby Taurus army with the Destroyer, causing them to retreat. Tiger Man also defeated the Demon Lord's army. Six goes to the cells to see Russell after getting briefed on the situation. With the help of Tiger Man, they persuade him to produce water for the Grace Kingdom. The party later fool around as Alice and Six find out that Grimm explodes if any foot covering is put on her. Some simple socks is the thing that acts like a trigger in this case. The Demon Lord listens in as Heine promises to avenge her fallen comrades. Back in the human world, it is revealed that the demon Faustless and Prince have joined Kisaragi as combat agents after being transported to Earth. Astaroth gets a little depressed, wondering if she should go and help Six since she misses him. Meanwhile, at the other world, the agent and Alice watch the stars, happy that their mission is completed for now. All he must do is pay back the evil points he borrowed to summon the Destroyer. The agent contemplates creating his own harem in this new world while he gathers points. Alice just smiles at him, which brings the season to an end.